Have you ever sat at the dinner table, looking across at your grown kids, and quietly wondered what they truly think of you now? I mean beyond the hugs, the phone calls, the birthday cards. Maybe you've even asked yourself, is what I've left behind really enough? Is money all they'll care about when I'm gone? If that question has ever snuck up on you, you're not alone. A lot of us reach a point in life where we start to look back and take inventory of the life we've lived, the people we've loved, and yes, the legacy we'll leave behind. And somewhere along the way, we start to realize something that nobody told us when we were younger. Money isn't the most meaningful thing you pass on. Your kids, as much as they appreciate the help with college tuition, the Christmas checks, or maybe even that down payment you pitched in for, are holding something even more valuable close to their hearts. And chances are, it's not sitting in your bank account. Now, don't get me wrong, money has its place. It eases burdens, it creates opportunities, and it gives a sense of security, especially in a world where things feel more expensive and uncertain every year. But what I want to talk to you about today goes deeper. It's about what really lasts, not just in your kids' wallets, but in their memories, in their character, and in the kind of people they grow into. Because as it turns out, the things your children truly cherish, the things they'll carry with them long after you're gone, have very little to do with dollars and cents. And today, I want to help you uncover exactly what those things are. Things they may never tell you directly. Things they might not even fully realize themselves. But that shaped them more than anything money ever could. 1. Your stories. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Your stories. Not your resume. Not your bank statement. Not even your proudest career achievement. But the stories of who you are. The kind you've lived. The kind you've survived. And yes, even the kind that still make you laugh until your belly hurts. Think about it for a moment. How often have your kids, even now, as adults, asked you about what it was like when you were young? Or maybe they lean in a little closer when you talk about how you met their mother. Or what it was like during your time in the service. Or that first apartment you could barely afford but still somehow managed to fill with joy. They may not always say it outright, but those stories are their way of anchoring themselves to something steady. Something true. Your stories are the blueprint of your family. They're the roots. And when you share them, with all the ups and downs, the stumbles and the triumphs, you're giving your kids something they can't buy anywhere else. A deeper sense of identity. You're helping them understand where they come from, and by extension, who they are. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be a great storyteller to do this. You just need to speak from the heart. Tell them about that summer you worked 3 jobs just to save up for your first car. Or how you used to make a single can of beans stretch into a whole meal back in your 20s. Or how scared, but determined, you were when you became a parent for the first time. Because when you tell them the truth, your truth, you're giving them permission to be human, to face life's messiness with grace. And you're showing them, without even meaning to, that resilience doesn't come from a trust fund. It comes from lived experience. 2. Your time. Now let's talk about something else they value. Probably more than either of you realize, your time. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but think about it. In a world that's always rushing, a world of deadlines, screens, traffic, and distractions, time has become the most precious thing of all. When you give someone your undivided attention, when you sit down with them with no agenda, no phone in your hand, no TV blaring in the background, you're saying, you matter. You're telling them, in a language louder than words, that their presence is worth your presence. And for your kids, especially those juggling their own busy lives, that kind of attention is rare. It's meaningful, whether it's a spontaneous lunch, a call just to check in, or taking the grandkids to the park and really being there. Body and soul. Those are the moments that stick. Not the check you wrote last Christmas. Not the inheritance waiting in a file folder. But you, present, connected, alive with them, in the moment. I once spoke to a gentleman in his early 70s. A retired Navy officer. A proud father of 3. He said something that really stuck with me. I used to think providing was enough. I gave them everything they needed: clothes, college, a stable home. But what I missed was being there. Really being there. His voice cracked when he said it. Because he knew you don't get those years back. But it's never too late to start. You don't need to plan some grand family vacation or throw big parties. Start with something small, but consistent. Send a message that says, "Tell me about your week." A simple question can open a window to connection. And you know what happens when you give them your time? They start to give you theirs. Conversations open up, distance shrinks, hearts soften. And the funny thing is, the more time you invest, the less anyone thinks about money. Because when you feel seen, heard, and valued, the need for material things fades into the background. What you're giving is something money can't replicate: presence. 3. Your wisdom. And as we keep going, there's one more thing I want to gently bring into focus. Something your kids quietly carry with them, whether they admit it or not. It's the third gift that speaks louder than money. And it might be the one they treasure the most: your wisdom. Now, I know that word, wisdom, can feel a bit heavy. It sounds almost grandiose, like something out of a dusty old book or a graduation speech. But in truth, wisdom shows up in the smallest, simplest ways. It's the advice you gave when no one else knew what to say. It's how you handle a tough moment with calm instead of chaos. It's your ability to know when to speak and when to just be there. Your kids, whether they're 30 or 50, may not always say it out loud, but they lean on you more than you think. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've lived through more than they have. You've seen enough life to know what truly matters and what can wait until tomorrow. Maybe you've been through a tough marriage and came out stronger. Maybe you've lost people you loved and somehow learned how to carry their memory with grace. Maybe you've weathered financial storms, health scares, or big life changes and still found your footing. That's not just survival. That's experience. That's wisdom. And when your kids find themselves facing their own trials, a rocky marriage, job stress, parenting struggles, or just that aching question of, "Am I doing this right?" Your voice, your example, your perspective becomes their anchor. Here's the part that really matters. It's not about preaching. It's not about telling them how to live or giving unsolicited advice. It's about living in a way that shows them what's possible. Speaking with humility, listening more than lecturing, and offering your insights like a hand extended, not a finger pointing. I've seen it again and again. When a parent shares a bit of truth wrapped in kindness, it lands. It stays. It might not spark a reaction right away, but weeks later, your son will remember something you said as he sits in traffic after a hard day. Your daughter will quote you in passing while talking to her own kids. And they'll feel your presence, not just as a parent, but as a guide. That's a kind of inheritance money can't touch. Conclusion. So, if you've been wondering what really matters to your kids, if you've ever felt unsure of your place in their lives now that they're older, let me remind you, you're still one of the most important people in their world. Not because of what you've given them, but because of who you are. And who you are is enough. It always has been. You are still writing your story. And the most powerful parts of your legacy aren't stored in vaults or bank statements. They live in the hearts of the people you love. That's where your legacy lives. That's where you live, now and always.